Hello, Mike, and welcome to Geek Curio. Thank you ever so much for coming on the show. I know we've had a heck of a time trying to arrange this interview, haven't we?
Oh yeah, quite a bit.
So
the world doesn't want this to happen, apparently.
No, absolutely not. I mean, we've had we actually did the interview about 3-4 weeks ago. I lost the recording. We've tried to reschedule 2 weeks ago, and that didn't happen. Then we had technical problems Saturday, Sunday, and now it's Monday afternoon in Kansas City and evening in the UK, and we're finally getting there despite even more technical hiccups. So yeah, bless technology. Isn't it a wonderful thing? So how are you today, sir?
I am doing fantastic. How about yourself?
I'm doing absolutely spiffing. It's quite warm here in the UK, so I will have to be putting the fan on every now and then, otherwise I will turn into a bit of a jelly monster. But I know that you're very excited to talk about miniatures and miniature painting today, aren't you?
Oh yeah.
So for our viewers, would you like to tell us how did you get into miniature painting in the first place, please, Mike?
It started about 2.5 years ago, I think. I was actually working on trying to make wargaming terrain. I was still pretty new to the tabletop community then, but it was just something that I seen a couple of YouTube videos for. I really wanted to get into, and I wanted to make money to help fund that hobby. So I started miniature painting because I did a little bit of that too, just kind of dabbled in it. And a lot of my friends in my D&D campaign really liked my minis, and they said I should try to, go about doing that. And I gave it thought, and I kind of went for it, and here we are.
And the rest is history.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been looking at some of your photos. I've been looking for a good few weeks, so I should know these quite well now. But there's a dragon that you have with us, which is on another screen, which I can't look at because I am recording that screen. But I mean, it's a magnificent dragon. Can you tell us about that? Because it absolutely blew me away. It's the one that's got all the different shadow textures. It's very dark and it's got all the blues and everything. That has been my favourite mini to actually. Well, it's not a mini; it's huge.
Yeah, I think it's gigantic.
So, can you tell us about that then, please?
Sure. So that was a commission for a person I knew. All she wanted me to do was to make it a dream shadow dragon. That's all she kind of gave me as a direction. And I just happened to have a big bad that I had for a campaign for a D&D session that I had years ago. His name was Australiax, and he too was an astral / dream dragon. And I never made a mini for him, but since she wanted something, similar to that, I got to channel, the story of that big bad evil guy into that miniature. Well, not miniature. That thing's probably like dang near 20 inches or something like that. I can't remember those
massive
measurements. But yeah, I just kind of, for what I thought the villain for my campaign was into that mini, and just had a fun time with it.
I mean, it's absolutely beautiful. The blues, the purples, and the blacks, and the effects that you got on the wings, absolutely sublime. I mean, I absolutely love it. How did it feel? It was a commission, so you had to part with it. How did that feel?
It's kind of sad letting it go. I mean, I really liked it, and I wish I had something like that for when I did my campaign. But knowing that the person I commissioned it for is going to have that for her campaign, I think that's really cool, and I hope that everybody at her table likes it too. So I was alright, parting with that and that aspect, that someone else is going to enjoy it. So
yeah, I mean, I think that's a beautiful thing about doing commission stuff. I don't do many myself, but I did paint up a huge batch for someone else's D&D game. Sadly, I never heard how it was received, but I was told that they really loved them, but never heard any more feedback on that. But that's wonderful. And yes, I think you made someone in their D&D group extremely happy with that. I mean, it's blown my socks off totally. So I also noticed that you do quite a bit of Warhammer and the Games Workshop brand as well. So I'm just going to have a look at I'm going to say Battle Sisters because I'm probably not going to say Adeptus Sororitas. Hopefully I said that right first time. I'm not too sure. But you've got some absolutely beautiful painting going on there. Once again, I have no idea what the unit type is, but the one with the big angel wings. Can you tell us about that, please?
Oh, I think that one is Saint Celestine.
Oh,
That's,
yes.
That one I've always been excited to paint that one because I've seen so many other painters tackle that, and it's always so cool how they do the color transition on the wings, and I wanted to do something like that too, and I don't know, I got lucky and had the opportunity to do that, so I just kind of looked at other painters, what they did for their Celestines as inspiration, and kind of what the client wanted as well, and we kind of came up with a happy medium. But yeah, painting wings, getting to use my airbrush, it's a lot of fun.
Was that entirely glazes, or was that wet blending that you used?
It was probably about 80% airbrush just to get the colors on there,
right? Yeah.
And then going back in with a brush and really trying to transition those blends as neatly as I could. I can't remember how long I spent trying to get those wings perfect.
And you said that was a commission as well, so you didn't get to keep that for yourself.
Yeah, unfortunately not.
That's a pity. And I'm going to pick on one more, and
okay.
I know this is quite a recent one for you because you did a bust. And is this the first time you did a bust?
Yes, that was the very first bust I've ever done.
Because he's a fantastic looking character. I don't know where it's coming from, but it's just it's straight out of a graphic novel, in my opinion. But
that one is from a guy. It's been an internet meme for a while. It's called Potion Seller. And it was some guy with a webcam doing different effects. I think it was like the old iMac photo something or rather, where you just click on different effects and it'll warp your face.
Oh yeah.
It was him having this conversation between a knight and an apothecary or a potion seller, and it's going back in the knights trying to buy potions from this potion seller, and the exchange is pretty funny, and he's cracking himself up the entire time, and it's an internet classic. And I just happened to find out on Etsy one day, and I just thought, I gotta have it, I gotta paint it. It's gotta be my first one. So I bought it and painted it up, and I kind of want to put them in my, I built a new PC recently, so it has a power supply shroud, and I kind of want to mount them in there just to have them in my PC just for fun.
That's excellent. And it's something you get to keep as well.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. So moving on away from the miniature painting, obviously it started off as a hobby, and you looked at it as ways of funding your terrain building. So did the terrain building ever get off the ground at all? Because I don't remember seeing much of that on your Patreon stuff.
No, unfortunately not. I kind of want to go back and maybe do some terrain for Kill Team, for Warhammer Kill Team.
Yes.
Maybe I'll do that one day, maybe not. I don't know. I don't know if it's something that I will put on Patreon or on YouTube, but I just haven't gone around to doing it just because I just haven't had time.
Who would you play in Kill Team? Because I normally play as Space Wolves all the time.
Right now I have a Death Watch Kill Team and a Skitari Kill Team.
Cool.
Both aren't painted up. They're kind of sitting assembled on my shelf, just waiting to be painted, but everything else comes in, so they kind of get ignored. But definitely Death Watch would be the one I go to.
That sounds very much like me and my Blood Bowl team of orcs, which I started last year, and I'm getting very, very close to actually finishing painting the entire team. They are actually tournament legal, so they've got 3 colours on them. It's just, when you want to paint it to your own level.
Right.
And I'm not a fan of batch painting. So I did briefly touch on your Patreon, and you've got you've got me as a Patreon, haven't you? So
yeah. Thank you so much for that.
No, I think it's well deserved, because I really enjoy the miniatures that you do, but a lot of things that you've picked up on, which in all my years of miniature painting, I haven't. And I mean, you did I'm going to forget the name of it, the brain.
Oh, the Hive Warden.
The Hive Warden, yes. I keep saying brain ward. I nearly said
it's
brain
pretty much
warden.
just a brain.
It's a giant brain. And you did. You showed how you took inspiration from Doom Eternal in that video, and I mean the transitions that you did. I mean, I personally would have done it a different way, but I like how you went from the one colour to the yellow, and like I said, like we both know, yellow is a very difficult colour to work.
Yeah, it
with.
is.
Almost as difficult as white.
Yeah,
but I like how you did on that, and I think my comment on there was basically, that's great about the brain, but I want to know about the eye. So I have actually put a request in for an eye tutorial. So I do apologise about making extra work for you. But,
no, you're good.
But please, can you tell us more about your Patreon?
The Patreon, I'm wanting to kind of transition to YouTube. I did Twitch for a little bit, but I think I'm enjoying YouTube a lot more. I kind of like the structure of it, and I've always enjoyed editing videos, stuff like that. So it's fun for me, and I hope it's fun for everybody else watching it. I'm looking to do tutorials, quick paints, which I got one coming up. It's actually exporting right now, and just I don't know. It's just so far just the tutorials of the quick paints. There might be more to it. Who knows? But for the Patreon, the actual patrons, I wanted to do PDF tutorials, like really in-depth guides that they could read through and hopefully learn quite a bit from.
No, I think the PDF one is going to be a really good one to have. I know that there's, well, if you've painted Warhammer stuff, you probably know about the old heavy metal guides that have been done over the years, and those get shared 5, 10, 15, 20 years on, because everything's still relevant, all the skills are transferable. So I'm looking forward to get some PDFs. Oddly enough, despite the fact that I work in software, I'm not a big fan of PDFs, so it probably will be printed out. Don't go around telling people who chop down trees, or don't want trees to be chopped down, I should say, because I do like to have a hard copy. I'm just the sort of person who has stuff stuck on.
I've also been thinking about making like a full color one and then a printer friendly one as well. That's because I like keeping stuff like notebooks and keeping it organized that way. So yeah, that's something that I kind of have a plan for those too. So
printer friendly would be great, because I'm working from home pretty much permanently now, so I can't go into the office and print stuff off. I have to be careful what I say about that. And going back to the Patreon, well, something that I noticed when I was interacting with yourself on Twitter was someone else, and I had to do a bit of a double take, but Lenore Regal is a Patreon as well.
Good old Momlin.
Yes, I was like,
yeah, she's
wow.
awesome. I love her so much.
Yeah, I'm like going, I mean, I don't have time to watch Critical Role because it's 3 or 4 hours, and I don't have the attention span to sit through an entire show. I will watch bits and pieces of it, but I feel like I'm now in this circle with the mum. You know, I think that's absolutely fantastic, and she's been speaking to me and responding to my tweets, and I'm feeling on top of the world now. I'm like, you know, like I'm 2 degrees of separation away from Matt Mercer almost. So yeah, how did that come about then?
So it's a funny story. So of course she's Mama. She's the the mom of Critical Role, of all the critters. Every day she posts a puzzle from the New York Times, like a mini crossword puzzle that her and the Modeling Puzzle Club, which is just made up of all the critters essentially that want to partake. They all join in. They all do the crossword. They post their times. We discuss it. My wife and our good friend Mara They were both members of the Mom Puzzle Club, and oops, sorry, my
Need to stop recording.
No, my headphones tried to do an auto shutdown and just yelled in my ear. So I'm like, oh god, I kind of panicked for a second.
The gods of technology are against us completely.
Yeah.
Aren't they? Yeah.
But where was I? Oh yeah, my wife and our good friend Mara, they're part of the Mama Puzzle Club, and Lenora will respond to pretty much everybody on there, and to say good job, all that stuff. And I got a little jealous, like I wanted Momlin's love too. Like,
yeah,
she's so cool.
Yeah, she is awesome.
So I joined the Momlin Puzzle Club on the WellForged account instead of like my personal one, and just kind of stuck with it. I just didn't want to switch accounts for whatever reason. And that's around the time when the Critical Role miniature line came out, and she posted it, and I commented on it, and a couple days later she asked me if I could paint it for her. I'm like, absolutely, I'd love to.
Wow.
And, yeah, it's like I looked at my phone, I saw that, I looked at my wife, and going back and forth, and I couldn't believe it.
Wow, that is wow. Okay, I'm actually a bit taken aback about that. I mean, I know that I've seen you've been working through the Critical Role miniatures, but to actually be asked by Lenore to paint hers, that's a claim to fame. That is. Yeah, that's quite an accolade. I mean, the number of things that I wanted to put up on as my accolade to be featured on Games Workshop's official site, or to be in White Dwarf magazine, but no, I think that trumps that. I think. I know I'll never get a Golden Demon, but to be asked to paint a miniature for someone of that stature is fantastic, and well done, Mike.
Thank you.
So, like I say, we talked about some of your minis and the way that you got the inspiration for the very large dragon. Where else do you get your inspiration from when you're painting minis?
I look up tons of reference art. I keep a Pinterest board just full of different fantasy stuff, metal references, even drawing tutorials that people, they do their own PDFs and put them on there for like Photoshop. A lot of that can apply to miniature painting. It converts, not 100%, but the same kind of ideas apply. And I try to gather as much knowledge and information and references and art as much as I can, and really try to not indulge, but I don't know what the word is for it, but try to get myself really immersed, try to get it immersed in all of that as best I can, and really try to apply that to everything that I paint.
Yes. And what sort of paint do you like using?
So I started out using Citadel, and I love Citadel. They're great paints. I've also like Reaper quite a bit. Unfortunately, our local game store doesn't sell Reaper, even though we are like a state away from the or make Reaper. But I've been ordering quite a few Reaper paints recently, and I really enjoy those. Vallejo's good. Scale 75. It's kind of difficult to work with, but I like them. And Army Painter's shades are really good too. And I kind of gather a little bit of everything, and I don't really have. I don't know, like it's all pretty even. The number of paints I have at each brand or company that makes.
You don't have any favorites. You don't. You love your paint brands equally.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you find the scale 70? You said you found the scale 75 quite hard to work with. Is that just you got a very thin consistency, or?
It's been a while since I use them. Actually, it's when you paint it, it looks a lot different dry. It's super matte and super transparent. So you'll paint a layer and it'll look like it's 100% coverage, but then you'll look at it, when it dries 10 minutes later, you're like, oh my god, I need like 50 more I need 50 more coats of this. But it's made that way so you really like fine tune areas that you want like highlighted or blended a certain way. So they're not really beginner paints, but they do what they're formulated to do, essentially.
That was a very selfish question for me because Scale 75 is actually a brand of paint that I've been looking at. However, in the UK, it can be a little bit tough to get hold of them. My regular game store, I've got my local game store and I've got my online local game store, and that's Asgard War Games in Middlesbrough near me and Mighty Lancer Games in Bridlington, which is where I tend to order online, and neither of them stock the Scale 75, sadly, so I have to get it from a very large shop in the other side of the country. So there's not much choice when it comes to the UK of certain brands. So yeah, that was a very selfish question, so apologies viewers.
No, you're good.
We've asked about your paint, so what sort of paintbrushes do you use as well? This is probably going to become another selfish question depending on your answer, just to warn you about
that. The main one I use is a Raphael 8404.
You can tell by my expression.
They're so good. I've gone through. I'm on my second one. The first one I've actually just it's such a workhorse. I use it for pretty much everything, and it lasted a good year probably, and I still use it to base coat. I mean, it's getting a little frayed to the point where it can't hold its point anymore. But that's a brush that I'll keep investing in over and over again, just because it's so good for everything. It keeps a point so well, and I just love it. And it works for pretty much everything.
I think I'm going to have to do like the top 5 paintbrushes because I think you're the third or the fourth person who said the Raphael. Again, in the UK, it's only a very few select stores that actually sell it, and it's all online. Although, have you heard of Broken Toad?
I have.
Broken Toad are literally 15 miles in that direction.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And Asgard, my friendly local gaming store, is one of the only shops that actually has it in stock in the store. Because of that, wow. So Broken Toad brushes are probably be investing in as well.
Yeah.
But yes, I just need it. Yeah, like I say, these do start. The interviews are starting to get extremely selfish for me because basically I just start and I walk away with shopping lists. But I'm glad you mentioned the Raphael. That's the Kolinsky hair one, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, and like I say, we've talked about some of the minis that you've painted for commissions. What would you say is possibly your favourite ones that you've painted for yourself, perhaps?
Oh God, for myself, I haven't maybe painted for myself in a while, but there was one that I painted for a Storm King's Thunder campaign that I ran. It was the main dragon from that, and I don't even know where it is right now, but it was the adult red dragon from WizKids, I believe, the Pathfinder dragon. It's a giant. I'll send you a link of it, but it's huge and spiky, and it hurts the wood when you paint it. Yeah.
Yeah, another one.
Yeah. But that one I took to a there's another local game store that does biannual painting competitions, and where everybody just it's a casual thing. They'll kind of bring whatever they painted in. There's a lot of military and Gunpla and Warhammer and stuff like that. And that dragon, I won like second place overall there, and I'm really proud of it. That was when I was kind of like the first 6 months of me actually painting. Just kind of like winning that, I was really kind of proud, and I've always kept that mini just kind of as a reminder. Yeah,
if you got second place, then the competition must have been extremely tough.
There were some great ones in there. Oh my God! Like I was honestly surprised that I even got a ribbon because there were some that just knocked out of the park. I took information from those people. It's a lot of talented people out there.
Yeah, and did you find them quite helpful as well when you told them you'd only be doing it for 6 months? And
oh yeah.
Yeah,
they were more than happy to swap tips, and
it's something that I absolutely love about the miniature painting community. Not so much where you have the little cliques, but the community as a whole. I'm just going to give a story, and I'll probably cut this from the video, but basically with Geek Curio I took it to a trade show once, and I met a guy called Pete Watson, and he was selling these bases, and I'm not going to get up and show you the base because my earphones will probably fall out, but he just made bases out of reclaimed wood. But when we got talking about, I was talking about miniature painting, and he said he did it as well. And then we followed each other on Facebook, and when I realised what he does busts, and they are amazing. And I will after the call I will send you a link to his Facebook, because I'd say he's probably he's one of those sort of people who gets featured in magazines. He's that good. Yeah, he's retired now, so all he does is just is bust a week or something.
That's my goal.
Yeah,
I just want to retire. I just want to paint minis for the rest of my days.
Yeah, but he was such a nice, down-to-earth guy. He gave me so many tips and a lot of support and encouragement, and that was just absolutely wonderful. Onto your YouTube channel. So, like I say, you said you've been working on some video tutorials. I haven't actually, apart from watching the tutorial that you did for the Mind Keeper.
Hive Warden.
Mind Warden. Hive Warden.
Close enough.
I'm going to start again. So, talking about your YouTube video. Apart from watching the tutorial for your Hive Warden, I haven't actually seen any. I don't think I've actually. Am I subscribed to your video your channel at all? I'm not sure.
I do not know.
We will correct that after this anyway. If I'm not, then I do apologise now. But what plans do you have for the videos? Because you said you're going to be doing tutorials. Do I need to be worried?
Right now, I am doing a whole tutorial series over the entire Critical Role miniature line. Both the Vox Machina and Mighty 9 sets, as well as the bonus set that came with the Kickstarter, the one with the 4 Pumots, and I think it's Tyrion and Dodie are a part of those two. I'll be doing tutorials over all that as well. That's the big one I'm working on right now. The other thing I'm working on is, I actually have them right here. I mean, you can't see it, but here one now, I don't know if you can.
I will imagine it.
It is the Captain Blackcrumb from the ReaperCon Live Online 2020 swag box.
Oh, you got one of those.
So I'm going to be doing a not so much a tutorial, but just kind of a time lapse of me painting all of them. And I just finished up Captain Blackcrumb, and that's the video I'm exporting right now. But I plan to do that, Sophie, there was another pirate one there, and I'm trying to utilize the 3 paints that came with the box as well into all of those.
Did you get Drowned Nipple Pink?
I did not. I'm sad.
See, this is another thing that sucks about living in the UK. So I looked at the Reaper boxes, and unfortunately during lockdown I'd saved a lot of money by not going out, driving my car, so I saved a lot on gas, which was fantastic. However, unfortunately at the same time I managed to spend a lot of money on Kickstarters, Patreons, and impulse buys like cons and that. So you don't want to know how much it is, and I will probably never say how much I've spent on video in case my wife ever sees it.
Oh, I understand.
But when I saw the Reaper swag bags, I wanted all of them. And if it wasn't for the fact that I just paid up my Reaper Bones 5 Kickstarter, I probably would have got those.
Yeah.
Very sad. So I'm very jealous, but very happy that you got them at the same time.
I really wanted the, I think it was like the $200 one, the big one, but I don't know, it just didn't work out that time when they did the pre-orders. But I'm really happy with the one I got. I got the $60 one, and it was well worth it. I'm really sad that ReaperCon isn't happening in person this year. I live about 14 hours away, so it was just quick. quick drive or flight or whatever. But hopefully, maybe next year.
You got to remember, I live on a tiny, small island. You can drive for 6 hours in one direction and be in the same place, whereas I can drive for 4 hours and the accents change twice and bread rolls are called something completely different.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, here you can drive any direction and the elevation doesn't change, the accents don't change, the scenery doesn't change. It's like you're basically driving on a treadmill. Essentially, it's just the same thing over and over again.
The funniest thing is I have some friends in Australia, miniature painters as well. You probably know them as part of Michael Mordor's, Josh and Winterfang.
Okay, yeah.
And they live. It's when they said it, I just couldn't fathom it, and I had to go and look at a map of Australia just to appreciate how large Australia is. When Josh said, "Oh, I'm only 2 days drive from you,"
yeah, that sounds about right.
I said the entire world rotates twice if you're driving in a straight line from one to another, and yeah, that's another one of those things that blows my mind.
Yeah.
So we just don't get the scale of these sort of things in the UK. So,
yeah.
I mean, I'm 3 hours away from Michael Mordor who's off near Glasgow, and for me that's a long way away.
We actually funny you were talking about driving. We actually drove about 3 hours in 2 directions yesterday just to grab one thing from my nephew who moved to a different state, and just for like most, especially like Midwest, a lot of people don't mind driving 13-14 hours for something. It's just, I don't know, it's crazy, I guess.
it is. I know that my brother, when he was looking for work, he didn't want to travel more than 20 minutes away from home. That would have meant leaving the town. So yeah, I think we just got a very, very different perspective on what's an acceptable distance. So I'm just going to ask as my final question, as someone who has been doing commissions and some wonderful, beautiful work for yourself, if you have any tips for people wanting to get into the miniature painting hobby, what would that be?
I think within the last 10 years, or however long YouTube's been up, there's been an exponential increase of painters sharing the resources on the internet, through YouTube, through whatever venue online, and there's so much resources out there, so many from so many wonderful painters that you can get so many perspectives on mini painting that you couldn't get 20-30 years ago. And take advantage of all that. Really immerse yourself in there if you really want to get into it. With everything going on in the world right now, it's a really good time to get into miniature painting. Yeah, just immerse yourself. There's so many resources out there that are just a couple clicks away. Then on the flip side of that too, realize when you're getting burned out on this too. Like, immerse yourself, but know when to kind of step back, and art really kind of ebbs and flows, and sometimes you need to take a step away to kind of like reevaluate your skills and kind of see how you're improving and where you need to improve. And I think over time that will build you into a better painter.
You forgot to mention Patreons such as WellForged Mniature Painting.
Oh yeah, he's a cool guy.
Yeah, he's a great guy. Excellent videos. Looking forward to those PDFs, and then you also got Goblins of Mordor as well, which is Patreon's definitely a good one to go with.
And Michael, he was when I first started, he was the very first person I followed on Twitter, I think. I just searched up miniature painting, and Michael was one of the top ones on there, and he did the hashtag Goblin Paint Challenge every week.
Yes.
And there's a lot of people of all different skill levels participating, and even as a newbie, I felt really comfortable, sharing my work then, and getting tips and seeing what other people were doing too. So definitely just immerse yourself. Everybody's nice. I guess most people are nice, but a lot of people are willing to share their knowledge with you and help you improve.
Yeah. Michael, to me, he was, when I first went on Twitter, the first time he ever liked and commented one of my miniatures, I was literally just like bouncing around the house. It's like it was almost like David Bowie had just come to hear me playing guitar, you know.
I know you can't see it, but I am actually wearing a David Bowie shirt right now, and I just kind of.
If you saw my Monday musings, I was actually wearing one yesterday.
I actually right before I watched that, I took a shower and I didn't know that you were wearing that, and I just happened to put this on. Then I watched your Monday musings. I'm like, oh hey, he's wearing a Bowie shirt too.
Yeah,
he has great taste in music.
Yeah, I've got well, I'm glad. Well, it's a good thing I did actually record Monday musings yesterday, because I needed to make sure that I was okay for today. So otherwise, we would have both been on there wearing David Bowie shirts, which is in musical taste is a fantastic thing. If we were really worried about fashion, we probably we would have been clashing. That's a great Bowie song as well. But yeah, when Michael actually replied to me, I was just bouncing off the walls. I was so excited. I told my wife, and my wife didn't know who the hell it was, or you know, my wife's not into that sort of thing at all. But now I get Michael sending me videos of him sticking his middle finger up at me, and and it's just crazy. It's just crazy.
He's a good guy.
He's a fantastic guy. So, and it's been great having you on the Discord channel as well. Yeah, I think
it's a neat little family. You guys, we all got going on there.
Yeah,
a lot of people that I've seen from Twitter. Just kind of like, you know, when I first started the miniature painter, are also on there too, and I know it's a really good community that Michael has, and I'm happy to be a part of it.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you ever so much for spending the time to re-record this video again. It's been an absolute honour and privilege to speak to you, and I think we've had a great lot of chatting over the past few weeks. Be it trying to fix technology or just talking about miniatures in either of the Patreons. But again, really happy to have you on the show, and thank you ever so much for dropping by.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's been a lot of fun. Well, now, hopefully, you know, none of our equipment's having a critical failure right now to where this is all erased, but hopefully this will work for both of us now.
This is where I finish recording and realise I've not turned the microphone on or something like that. So, yes, we don't
cross your fingers, everybody.
We don't tempt fate. Yeah, everyone, cross your fingers and make sure that Andy has not screwed this up again. Right. Well, take care of yourself, mate. Cheers.
Hey, you too.